So hi guys, welcome back to another stream, and today's stream is the FPL 2021-2022 season first draft. So if you didn't already know, earlier on in FPL, obviously prices have been announced over the last few days, and now you can pick your team ready for the new season. Yes, I know the season is nearly 2 months away, so it's a month and a bit away, but I'm going to start with the first draft because I can't wait any longer and I want to get my team sorted. And yes, Euros is on today, and that is all on at the moment. But do remember, you have still got the FPL season around the corner. So if I hop right over here to my fantasy football thing, we are going to go through. Once someone's in the chat, once someone's ready to, once somebody's come on, got to promote the stream, you know what I'm saying? You got to promote it. Say that we're live now. Give us 2 seconds. There we go. So, welcome to the stream, wherever that is. So, the new season has been announced, obviously fixtures, etc., and we must run through my team and what I'm going to do. So, basically, I haven't even looked at, I've looked at prices, obviously, but I haven't even looked deeply into what to do yet. So, let's get on with my team. So, in goal, we are going to go with, let's have a look through what goalkeepers we have. I think Martinez could be a really good option because he's cheap. Villa have a strong defence. But then you've got to look at the other options that you've got for even cheaper price points, like Patricio at Wolves. Wolves aren't a bad side. West Ham, Fabianski, Schmeichel at Leicester. That just looks really tempting at 5 million. Guaita at Palace 4.5. But I think I'm going to go with, let's go with Martinez. We'll stick with the tried and tested, the ones that have achieved and performed well last season. So we have Martinez there. Then my other goalkeeper, we'll put someone cheap in just because we're not too sure yet. So let's go with, let's have a look. Who have we got here? Matt Ryan, is he back at Brighton? Obviously, he's not going to start. Darlow could. Let's go with the Palace keeper, Guaita. Let's add him into the team. So we've got 2 goalkeepers so far. And now let's go to the back line. So let's add a defender. So if we look through our defensive options, I think I'm going to have to go with Ruben Diaz after his performance. Yeah, clicked on Diaz there. His performances last season, absolutely outstanding. Probably the best player in the Premier League last season, in my opinion. So we've got to have him in the team. Along with, let's go with, let's have a look. Who have we got here? Let's go with Target. It's tempting because he's a really good defender and he offers the attacking threat as well. So yeah, let's go with Matt Target as another defender. Also, we're going to go with, let's have a look. Keep scrolling. Let's go to the next page. Let's go and have a look around. It's really hard who to pick because obviously Man City rotate their defence a lot. Liverpool, you don't actually know who Liverpool's going to play at the back line this season. Could it be Gomez? Could it be Konate? Could it be Matip? But it's just trying to have a look at good options here, which could be good for the team. Castagne, if he's recovered for the Premier League season, I've got to have him on my team. He's a top player for Leicester. Arguably cemented his place in the side last season. Injury to James Justin, obviously horrendous. Not good for him. But it gave Castagne a chance to come through along with Luke Thomas. So yeah, we'll keep that there. And then our other defenders. Let's go with Luke Ayling. No, because Leeds, he doesn't offer as much attacking threat. And you don't want a defender who's centre-backs are good, especially like Diaz, because Man City keep a lot of clean sheets. Well, they have been. But defenders like, what did I say? Defenders like Ayling is not really the best option because although he is playing a very attacking Leeds team, does he contribute to the attacks very much? Not really. So you don't really want Luke Ayling in the team. Let's go with Walker Peters could always be a shout. Rudiger in Chelsea's defence. Once I get 4 strong defenders, I'll be happy and I can pick a weak, cheap one afterwards. Let's go with Webster at Brighton because he doesn't always start for Brighton, but when he does, he seems to play well. We'll have Webster in there. And then we'll have alongside Webster, let's put Fofana. You can't go wrong with that. 4.5 million, really cheap. He's a budget enabler. Allows you to bring more expensive players into your team. And also, he starts for Leicester a lot, which is a very good option there. So we've got 64.5 million left in the bank. And that's where we move on to midfielders. So if we look for our midfield options, there's several players I want. And when I mean I want them, I mean you've kind of got to have them. You don't have to, but you've got to have it. I want one of the big hitters. So I'm going to first of all bring in the guy in the thumbnail. If you had a look at the thumbnail, which is Salah, because obviously he's going to start pretty much every game for Liverpool this season. And he has been in good form over recent years. I want Kevin De Bruyne, another expensive asset, but Man City, can they achieve another Premier League title under Pep Guardiola? They could possibly, and also De Bruyne is a key part in that. And then the other midfielder I want is Jack Grealish. So Jack Grealish is a really good option because he's cheap, around 8 million, which, well, when I say he's cheap, I mean, compared to the likes of De Bruyne and Salah, he's cheap. And he's being one of the highest point scorers, that 135 points last season. Yes, he was quite highly owned, but when he doesn't play for Villa, as he missed quite a lot of games in the 2021 season, but look, still 135 points, 6 goals, 12 assists. Like, that is a brilliant stats for however many games he played. He missed quite a lot of games. I don't know if it says here, but he's a brilliant player for Villa, one of the best players in the league. De Bruyne, yes, Man City do rotate their team around a lot, but De Bruyne is usually a mainstay in the side. He's played in the false nine, plays in the midfield, so he offers a lot. And also, if you look at Man City's opening fixtures, they don't look too nice. Tottenham, Arsenal, Leicester, Chelsea, all in the first 6. But Southampton, Arsenal, and Norwich, sorry, Arsenal fans, but those games there are the ones where Man City can pick up points. And realistically, you wouldn't be surprised if Man City won all of these, or maybe 5 of these games with the quality they have in their side. That is the... what's this? Do you like... I don't know what that is, mate. Honestly, I don't know what that is. But yeah, let's hop back over here to the team. So Kevin De Bruyne is in, and obviously Salah, I got to include him in as well. Salah's first fixtures are beautiful on paper, because bear in mind, it is the Premier League and anything can happen. But on paper, we've got Norwich. Well, because I'm a Liverpool fan. Norwich, Burnley, Leeds, very attacking team. These spaces for like the likes of Salah to exploit. Palace and Brentford, all in our first 5, with Chelsea really the only really hard fixture on paper there. But you never know. Liverpool could drop points in some of those games. And look, if that's going off this season, it can't be. But if it is, that is ridiculous ownership. But it tells you, because he was the joint top scorer. Well, not joint top scorer. He was one off the top scorer last season. The imposter in Fortnite. I don't know. I don't play Fortnite, mate. I don't play that. But yeah, hop back over here. So we got Salah, we got De Bruyne, we got Grealish, and now we got to have a look at what other players we could bring into the team. So, other midfielders. I want to bring in Rafinha. He's another one I want to bring in. He's cheap as well. Well, when I say cheap, he is cheap compared to your other midfielders we've got in the team. So we've got Rafinha in now. And as you can see, Rafinha, Grealish, De Bruyne, and Salah. So they are quite expensive midfielders in the sense of none of them are £4-5 million players, but Rafinha, an outstanding season last year for Leeds, was exceptional. Look, 6 goals, 10 assists last season, and his first season in the Premier League as well. So it shows his quality right there. And then the last midfielder spot, who are we going to pick for this one? That's the question. That is the big question. Who are we going to pick for the last midfield spot? So Jack Harrison is back at Man City. He was actually on loan at Leeds last season, but you just kind of assume that he was already there. I've got to have a look through. Who could I bring in for who's cheap, but not obviously peanuts? But if I want to bring in a decent strikers, I've got to have someone who's not too expensive. You never really want to go with defensive midfielders, because the things with defensive midfielders are they don't get much for clean sheet points, 1 point, and then they don't get much during attacking returns either, so you don't really need too much there. That's why I go here. All right, then did you rate Denmark's performance against Russia? I don't know what that means, mate. Honestly, I don't know what that means. But did I rate Denmark's performance against Russia? Yes, it was very good. They scored 4 goals, and to be fair, after everything that's gone on with Denmark and all the football, they deserve to go through. And I'm happy Finland, well, they're third, so I don't know if they're going to go through, but Finland were ranked one of the worst teams in the competition, so it's kind of good for them to go through as well. But let's have a look at the options here. The midfield is where all your players, they get the most points. So if you have a a player in midfield, they get 5 points for a goal. When if you're in a striker, you get 4 points for a goal, and a defender gets 6. But also, the midfielders don't just get an extra point for a goal. It's also they have more chance of creating chances if you think as a midfielder, because especially these lot. And technically, Salah isn't a midfielder because he plays in the attacking role for Liverpool as like the right forward. So if I have a look through, there's not really too many good options here for a cheap price in midfield. None of them seem to be defensive players. Like Kante is too defensive. Hudson-Odoi. I might just go with Hudson-Odoi because I don't know how much he played for Chelsea, but he's cheap. He comes in at 5.5 million. Oh, someone's ringing me. I don't even know what this is. And he can sit on the bench as well. So if he sits on the bench throughout the whole season and comes on, I'll be happy because he'll get me some points. So he 5.5 million. I don't know where. Do I take Hudson-Odoi? That is the question. Do I take Hudson-Odoi or do I take someone different? Next page. Martinelli, Pratt, Fraser, Pryor, whatever you want to say. Thomas Partey, no too defensive. That's Tyler Roberts. I'm tempted to bring him in instead of Hudson-Odoi. Let's remove him. Is this Tyler Roberts? Yeah, Tyler Roberts. I think I'm going to bring him. 1 goal, 2 assists last season. Not the best, but he is a quality player. And I do reckon he'll get a run in this Leeds team next season. Especially, you've got to take into the account that Jack Harrison is moved back to Man City. So there's always a vacant spot there. But yeah, I think that's going to be my midfield. And that leaves me 20 million to spend on my forward line. So up front in the forward line, I'm going to go with... It's not going to show me any of my forward players. Page 4 of 2. All right, well, there we go. There's not many forwards. There's 55 of them in the game. So we're going to go with some players who have got good form, got good fixtures in the opening game weeks. Pukki could always be a shout. Played Liverpool first game of the season, which isn't the best on paper, but you never know. Fabio Silva, with the return of Raul Jimenez, will Fabio Silva still get minutes and points? Rodrigo, Bamford. Where's Bamford? That's the player. We'll take him Bamford at 8 million because who knows if he's going to replicate his form of last season. But last season, he was a top quality player. And then Iheanacho, he is in the thumbnail. But the big problem with Iheanacho is, can he replicate his form of last season? Iheanacho technically only hit form late on, so can he sustain it into a new season? That is the big question right there. Oh, it's really hard, this. Who do we bring in? Watkins, 7.5 million, but we've also already got a Villa asset. So if I were to bring in one, also we've got 3 Villa assets, so we can't bring in any more, actually. Firmino is just too much for what he brings you in an FPL sense. Iheanacho at 7.5 is really tempting. There's not many forwards this year, especially cheap ones. Fabio Silva could be a shout. And I might just play with 1 striker up top. And then that leaves us how much for our last forward player? 6.5. So if we go up here and we put between 4 and 6.5 million, we should be able to find a player for 6.5 who could be Saint-Maximin's a really good shout. So is Connolly. He's a good young player, but he didn't do anything last season that was worthy of his price. Pukki. You can't not go with Pukki. He's going to start for Norwich. Yes. The season before last, when he joined the Premier League, Timo Pukki, he came in, he hit the ground running straight away, scored like 2-3 goals, but then he sort of tailed off, and then they went out of everyone's team. Do you rate Frankfurt's guy, Nick? He played well last season, but was robbed of exposure from the press. No, I don't know who he is, mate. I actually don't know who that player is right there. But yes, so we have chosen the team here. So if we can get it all in one image. No, we can't quite squeeze it. We'll drop the... There we go. So the team is, as it stands, Martinez and Guaita in goal. Obviously, we haven't decided on who we're going to play, but the defensive players are Ruben Diaz, Matt Targett, Castagne, Adam Webster, Fofana. Then we have a midfielders of Mo Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, Rafinha, and Tyler Roberts. And then up front, we have Bamford, Fabio Silva, and Timo Pukki. So if I was going to play first game of the season, so say the first game of the season is tomorrow, who do I want to play in the team? So my back line would consist of Ruben Diaz. Yes, I know Tottenham, top team. But if Harry Kane moves to Man City and Man City looks stronger already, and Man City's defense is really good, you can't not start Diaz. Matt Targett, his first game of the season is against... That's right, let me get this thing over here real fast. Yeah, Matt Targett's first game of the season is against Watford. So newly promoted Watford. I don't know too much against them. Obviously, got Ismaila Sarr, Ben Foster. Everyone knows about his YouTube channel. They've got Troy Deeney, I think, still plays. I'm not too sure. They got Joao Pedro. They got a lot of good assets, Watford. So you could obviously say that they have a creative players up front, with Sarr being one of the best players in the Championship last season. But Villa's defensive team, Villa have got very good defensive players. That's why also I'm going to play Martinez in goal. Unless, let's have a look at Guaita real fast. Guaita's first fixture is Chelsea. Yes, we're going to play Martinez in goal, Ruben Diaz, Matt Targett in defence, Castagne. So Leicester opening day of the season have Wolves. We'll play Castagne as a third defender. And then they're Burnley. So we'll vary it up. We'll play Adam Webster. And obviously, we'll have Fofana first on the bench. So basically, you order your bench. There's 4 players on your bench, including your goalkeeper. But your 3 outfield players on your bench, you order them from first to third. So say Fofana was first on your bench. So you have the goalkeeper, then you have Fofana. Say one of your players didn't play and it didn't upset the formation rules, he would come on. So if I play Diaz, Targett, Webster, Castagne as my back 4, but Castagne doesn't start for various reasons, could be recovering from his injury still, poor form, Brendan Rodgers decides to play someone different, Fofana would come on. And obviously, if Castagne and Fofana play, I'd rather Castagne because he is a wing back and he offers an attacking threat. Yes, centre-backs do from corners, but think about it in a game. Is there more chance of a centre-back scoring a header or a full-back getting an assist or a goal? Their full-back gets up constantly, especially if he plays wing-back and they play a back 3, because Leicester often play a back 3 with Soyuncu, Johnny Evans, and Fofana. So if Castagne was either right wing-back, because that's his probably favoured position, or left wing-back, he said one of them was his favoured position. But either way, one of those positions for him, he can get forward and create chances. And then we move on to the midfield. So that is my back 4. And in the midfield, I think I'm going to play 4 players as well. So I'm going to play Salah, De Bruyne, Grealish, and Rafinha. So they're my 4 midfield players. Please contribute, guys. Please contribute to something. As long as City and stuff don't win, because obviously I am a Liverpool fan. I don't want City to do well, but I like my fantasy players to do well. And then up top, we're going to go with Pukki and Bamford. Why not Fabio Silva, you might say? Basically, Wolves' early fixture is against Leicester. And don't get me wrong, Leicester aren't exactly a brilliant, amazing team, but they are a top side. They finished just outside the top 4 last season. Very, very close. And obviously, Leicester have lots of attacking qualities. Iheanacho, Vardy, Harvey Barnes, James Maddison. Loads of players right there. So what I was thinking is, if we play Pukki against Liverpool, yes, that is arguably harder fixture than Leicester, but Pukki is guaranteed to start, pretty much. When was the last time Pukki did not start for Norwich? When he's fit? Very rarely. And obviously, Raul Jimenez had that unfortunate injury in the 1920 Premier League season, but he should be back. He should be. Not saying he is going to, but he should be back. And that means he obviously plays in the number 9 role, which is the same position as Fabio Silva. But what you got to think about here is that Raul Jimenez may, and this is a possibility, he may not be fit enough to play the full 90 minutes. So Fabio Silva may come on and he may score. But you've got to take that into account and you've got to take risks in this game. This game is full of risks. If you don't take any risk, you're never going to succeed because you may play safe and you may get lucky, but if you don't make risks, transfers are a risk. You could take out a player in your team who's not playing well and bring in a player who is playing well. But let's say you take out that player out of your team and he goes and scores and the player who you brought in doesn't score, obviously your risk has failed. But if you never bring in the player in the first place, you're never even going to get that opportunity. So that is going to be my team. So it's going to be Bamford and Pukki up top. And then the midfield 4 of Grealish, Rafinha, De Bruyne, and Salah. And then a back 4 of Webster, Castagne, Targett, Diaz, and then Martinez in goal. And what you got to remember in FPL is, unless the fixtures are absolutely amazing and you want to double or triple up on a fixture, it's kind of better just to vary your options. So I could have easily gone for Fofana and Castagne because Leicester are a better team than Brighton. But what I thought was, if I have Webster and then one list of defenders, it varies something up. If Leicester go concede, then at least you've got the Brighton defender who's playing against Burnley to obviously keep a clean sheet. So you've got to take a lot of things into account in this game. But I don't know if this is how much they're owned by now, because Salah owned by 53.7% is absolutely ludicrous. Stupendous, really. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was this season because he's an outstanding player right there. So yeah, that is my first team. If I go enter squad right here, we'll click the enter squad button and then we got to pick my team name. So I'm going to choose my team as XI squad because yes, you may be thinking, why don't you call it FPL skills? Well, I'm not going to call it FPL skills because for years playing this game, well, it's my third season, I've always put XI squad as the team name, and obviously Liverpool are my favourite team. So we'll agree to the terms and conditions and we'll enter the voice break there, the squad. So my fantasy team, total players, 170,000. That shows you how big the game is. The game came out, well, not the game came out, but this season you could choose players from earlier on today, lunchtime-ish, 4 or 5 hours, and we've already got 170,000 people playing. So there, here we go. Here's my team, but obviously up until the deadline, which is Friday the 13th of August at 6:30. So we have got well over a month to change my team around and swap it around based on players transfer out the Premier League, transfer to different clubs, injuries, etc., etc., etc. But I'm going to captain Mo Salah, first game of the season. And I'm going to vice captain. Who am I going to vice captain? Jack Grealish, because I just think it's a good fixture on paper. And then I'm going to put Pukki in for Fabio Silva and move Fabio Silva to second bench. So, for instance, say Castagne didn't come on, didn't start, injury, choice related. Fofana, who was first on his bench, would come on instead and replace him. If you had Fabio Silva first, Fabio Silva would come on and replace him. But basically, if you already had 5 defenders, whatever player was up first on your bench would come on and replace the defender. So it is a little bit strange, but I think you can understand how it works and what I'm basically saying there. But yeah, that is going to be my team. And I finalise it. Any questions in the chat, guys? Put any questions in the chat you want. But that is going to probably be my team for game week 1. But I might change at some point to a variety of different things. Then we'll see how the Euro goes. And obviously later on today, you got the England game. I guess assume most of you are going to be watching that game. It should be a big game. The thing is with that game against England and the Czech Republic is that England are already through. So realistically, do they have much to play for? No. But at the same time, they got to play for pride. If they get thumped by the Czech Republic 2-3, 4-0, I don't think they will, but say they do, the confidence and the morale is going to greatly decrease going into the round of 16. But I'm not too sure. You have to look online, but I'm not sure who England gets in the round of 16. Because it could be Germany, Portugal, or France, or Sweden. And yes, Sweden may look like the easier team on paper, the team that are more likely to beat. Yes, they are. But don't write them off. They've been really good this season throughout the tournament. They drew against Spain. I think they beat Poland. I'm not too sure. But they've been really good so far. Isaacs as top striker. Forsberg in midfield. Lindelof and Olsen in defence and the goalkeeper. So, yeah, they have got a good team. So don't write them off. But, yeah. Back to FPL. That is my team. Any questions, do put them in the chat because we have no people on the chat at the moment. Any FPL-related questions as well because who do you think you should captain? Who's the best players to bring in? Who's budget enablers? Who's cheap players? Who's this, that, and the other? I think you should put it in the chat, and then I will answer your questions. But at this moment in time, that is my team that is going to be playing playing the first game of the new season. But obviously, you got to have a look at a few other options as well. If we go over to here and we go to where are we going to get? Oh, he's gone. So you got 0 people. Oh, what a shame. So 0 people in here at the moment. That is a shame. No questions, no comments in the chat. But it was a weird time to bring it on. But let's have a look here. So if you didn't know already in FPL, you have chips. So your chips are the bench boost, the triple captain, and the free hit, and the wild card as well. So the wild card basically means you have unlimited free transfers for one game for permanent. So you're not happy with your squad, they're not playing well. You want to bring in fresh new crop of players. You've seen the likes of Rafinha playing well, the likes of João Pedro playing well, Ismaila Sarr. You want to bring them in. How do you bring them in? All in without taking loads of hits from your transfers. That is what the wild card is for. So you can change your whole team around up until the deadline, keep chopping and changing. But once the deadline comes, your new team is your permanent team. That is where it's different from the free hit, which leads me on to the free hit. So the free hit basically is the exact same format, and it follows the exact same format as the wild card, but the players you bring into your team are not permanent. They're only for 1 game week. So let's say you have double game weeks, because obviously there are double game weeks in FPL. There are triple game week. There was 1 triple game week last season, first time in ages, but there's double game weeks, triple game weeks, and obviously blank game weeks. So blank game weeks is where not all of the 20 teams play. So you have several players in your team who aren't playing because they're on international break or an FA Cup fixture. Well, no, I don't know. But they're doing something which means they're not going to play. You can use your free hit because you're happy with your team. You're happy with those players when they return. So the free hit, you use it, and then you can swap out your whole entire team or whatever players you want for 1 game week only, and then we'll revert back to the original team before the next game week starts. And also, take this into account as well. The free hit is you can only use it once per season, so don't think you can use it every time. The wild card you can use twice per season. So with the wild card, it basically is a chip where you have unlimited free chances, and obviously you can use it twice. So you have it twice throughout the season. So from August up until I think is the new year or midway through the season, that's when you can use your first wild card. And then from the mid-season up until the end of the season, that's when you can use your... how old am I? I am 16. I'm 16. Hi, mate. How you doing? I'm 16. And yeah, so that's how it is. So the free hit, the wild card, you can use from August up until January, well, the middle of the season time. And the second wild card, you can use from middle of the season time all the way to the end of the season. And then obviously you've got bench boost. So bench boost is where all those players that usually sit on your bench and don't do anything, they get points. So say you're thinking, oh, I can only pick 11 players, but I've got 15 and they're all good. They've got good fixtures. They're in good form, but I don't know who to choose. You play your bench boost. But remember, there are double game weeks. There are triple game weeks. There are blank game weeks. So don't go using these chips whenever you feel like it, because there could be one of those around the corner and then you really be stuck if you didn't have your chips. So let's get back onto what the bench boost does. So you have those 3 players on your bench, 4 actually. Good fixtures. They could get, what, 10, 15 points between the 4 of them. Want to start a YouTube channel, but I'm period that my friends will find out. Will find it. Oh, you're worried that your friends will find it. Well, yeah, I created a YouTube channel, and I'm not too fussed that my friends found it. And I told some of them, and then the others I didn't tell. But at the start, you might be a bit like, do I do it? Do I not? But then after like a few weeks or a few months, you'll be like, I don't really care. I've done this channel. I created it in November last year. And then at the start, I thought, what will people think of it? But then as you go on, you kind of just start to not really care and just enjoy what you're doing. And as your channel grows, which it should do, you should be more confident and get going. Do you have an Instagram? Because I think I've seen FPL Integrity on Instagram. So I was wondering if you have Instagram, maybe you should create a YouTube channel. That's what I did. I had Instagram, then I created a YouTube channel, and then I interlink. So when I stream on YouTube, I obviously post it on my Instagram. And also on my Instagram, I post teams and stuff. So basically, for an FPL game week, I would do a game week preview. So the preview, I talk through good options, captaincies, what I'm going to do with my team, etc., etc. And then obviously, I'm not going to finalize it then when the video's being filmed, because that's like 3, 4, 5 days before the actual game week starts. So I'll say to the people, I'll put it on my Instagram. So on my Instagram, I'll finalize my team. You do. I'm thinking of changing my name now. Why do you think to change your name? Do you not think it's quite a good name? FPL Integrity? I think I can whip you up on Instagram now. I think I've seen you before. FPL Integrity. Yeah, there you are. 1,784 followers. So yeah. You may as well do a channel, mate. What would you change your name to, though? What would you change your name to? It's quite hard because you've got to try and think of, if you type in YouTube FPL and then your name that you want to choose and nothing comes up, it means that obviously no one out there is called the same name that you want. But also look on Twitter, Instagram, because you don't want to have the same name as someone else. It doesn't really matter if they're a tiny weenie channel and they're not doing anything, they've stopped doing it. But if they're a bigger channel, bigger page, then you don't want to get like battling with each other over like the name, because someone might go, oh, have you watched FPL so-and-so? Oh, this one? Oh no, there's another one. Oh, I didn't know there's another one. So you kind of got to make your name unique. But yeah, I think I don't like it personally. I plan on changing it to the FPL Irishman. Well, if you're Irish, you may as well change it to the FPL Irishman. I don't think there's anyone out there. If you type up on YouTube FPL Irishman, you're going to probably see if there is FPL Irishman out there. But I don't think there is. I've never heard of anyone called FPL Irishman. But I don't see what's wrong with FPL Integrity. You've even got your little profile page, which looks quite good as well. So, but it's up to you, mate. It's up to you, honestly. Whatever you want to do, just do it, and don't really care about the people at school or whatever saying it, or your friends or whatever. Because I don't really care when I do that. My friends I spoke to my friends about it. They knew I had an Instagram, but I spoke to them about it, and they were like, "Yeah, you may as well." And then they kind of supported me along the way, and they come on the streams now and then, etc., etc. So yeah, I'll just do it if I was you, mate. But if you have a look on YouTube now and type up FPL Irishman, do tell me if there is someone out there called that. If not, then you have a pass. Well, not a pass, but you have a free opportunity to use your name in FPL. Obviously, I don't know if you see me on Instagram, but you do come up on my feed quite a lot. So I assume you do follow me, or I just follow you instead. But I'm not too sure. Wait, someone else is streaming in. Nathan Bacon, he's a top lad. He's a top lad as well. If I go on Nathan Bacon's stream, look, he's got people on there. He's got FPL 21 is out now, so he's picking his team as well. Now there's no one thankfully. Yeah, so call yourself the FPL Irishman, and then start creating your YouTube videos. When I started creating YouTube videos, obviously you probably, oh yeah, you do follow me. That's good. Basically, when I started creating YouTube videos, I didn't show my face initially. So for the first 4, 5, no, it's probably more than that. It was probably the first, I don't know, November, December, January, February, March. It took me like, yeah, maybe 4 or 5 months before I showed my face. So I was constantly doing videos without my face, just waffling on. And then I started showing my face on videos, which obviously makes it more interesting for the viewer. And then after that, obviously, I started doing live streams. And I like doing live streams because video recording, it was fun. But after a long day at school, I used to come home and I was tired, and it was long recording the video and then editing it and stuff. When live stream, you can just click the camera on, plug the mic in, plug the laptop in, and whatever, and just start live streaming. And then I've been live streaming watch-alongs for Premier League, Champions League, Euros, etc. But yeah, I'll start your channel, mate. And then if you want, I can obviously do stuff with you on FPL or whatever. I could shout your channel out. I don't mind. Just do whatever, mate. But I think you should start your channel called the FPL Irishman. Just subscribe. Never knew you had a YouTube channel. No, you probably didn't, but I do put on my story. Sometimes, obviously, you probably skip through it. A lot of people do, but I put if I'm streaming or if I've got a new video on YouTube. But yeah, I created the Instagram account probably about a year or so ago, year and a bit ago. I think it was about start of January 2020, I want to say. And then I thought to myself in November, I thought I want to create a YouTube channel, but I don't know what to do it about. Why don't I do it about FPL and obviously link my Instagram to my YouTube? So yeah, I decided to do that. And now I'm here, but there was no viewers on this stream. We do have good streams sometimes. We might get about 10, 11, 12 viewers. But today is kind of that awkward time because it's at 5 o'clock. People are still out. I didn't really plan the stream. I was going to do it another day, but I just couldn't wait. I wanted to do the draft. If you want to see my draft, mate, I don't know what you think of this, but there is my draft for my team. So can we actually so on the bench I've got Guaita, Fofana, Fabio Silva and Roberts. And then there is my first team. So we've got Martinez, Diaz, Target, Castagne, Webster, Salah, De Bruyne, Grealish, Rafinha, Bamford and Pukki. So I thought, got to include Timo Pukki. Cheap, £6 million. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you don't play, I can put on the bench. For Bamford, really good season last season. And obviously, Leeds' start of the season is kind of questionable because they've got quite a few tricky teams throughout the start bits with Liverpool, Everton and Man United. But Leeds are a very attacking side. So I expect a lot from them. And then Rafinha, another top season last season for him. I think he got 6 goals, 11 assists or something. And he missed quite a few games that season as well, which quite shows a lot. And then KDB over Bruno, interesting. Yes, well, why I chose Kevin De Bruyne over Bruno Fernandes, it's a bit of, I don't know, it doesn't really mean too much what I'm going to say, but I've looked at De Bruyne. He had quite a strong end to the season, and Bruno Fernandes sort of fell short near the end of the season. Also, if you look at the Euros, De Bruyne has played 2 games, and he's already got two assists and a goal. And Bruno Fernandes has played 3 games and he hasn't really contributed to anything, has he? Yes, he's involved a bit here and there, but he doesn't look that great. And then obviously, De Bruyne has looked very good. Do you play Euro Fantasy, bud? If you do, what's your overall rank? Well, my overall rank is, I'll whip that up real fast, mate. Euro FPL. Give me a second. Euro FPL. Nah, it's obviously it's not Euro FPL, is it? Oh gosh, give me a second. Euro Fantasy Football. So Euro 2020 Fantasy Football. Login. Obviously, I've got to log in, sign in, make substitutions. My overall rank is. Let's whip back over here. Share another screen. Stop screen. Share. There it is. Hop back over here. There we go. So my current overall rank is 119,200. No, sorry, that's not right. 1,190,316. And I'm 4th in my own league, which isn't the best, but this guy at the top is just outstanding. He's had a truly outstanding start to the tournament and has just been very, very good there. Chip Chat Your League, Chip Chat guys, I've spoken to them before briefly. Don't know, they're on Instagram, and I am sitting. Where am I in their league? 24th. I'm in A View from the Stands. If you don't know who A View from the Stands is, he is a YouTuber. I might do a collaboration with him soon. You're currently top 4K in the world. I respect that. That is very good, mate. That's very good. You must be quite good at Euro Fantasy then. I've never played it before. I didn't even know if there was originally some. But you should create a YouTube channel, mate, and then you probably enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, there's not a problem. You can just stop doing it, but you may as well try it, mate. So in A View from the Stands, he's another YouTuber. He does football streams. He does a bit of FPL, but not too much into it. I'm sitting currently, where am I? 24th, no, sorry, 18th in his league out of 42 members. So what I've learned from this is that this league is the hardest league, because there's less members in that league, but I'm a lower rank. So that obviously all depends there. But do you have a prize league? No, I don't have a prize league, but I do have a league that's just this. But I was thinking, obviously, the new FPL season's around the corner. I might do a prize league for the new Premier League season. But no, for the Euros, it's just a league. You don't win anything from winning it, but it's just a little league. And as it stands, you might beat this guy here. What's his overall rank? He is 21. Gosh, you must. What points are you on? FPL Integrity or FPL the Irishman, if that's going to be your feature thing. What points are you on for the Euro FPL League? Stop that screen. Share back my other screen soon. If we are lucky and we do get people joining, they can have a look at this one over here. There we go. That's my team. If anyone's joining. What rank? No, not what rank you. How many points do you have? Because that guy's on 100 and he's on 183 and he's about 21k. So what are you on, about 190? I want to say. And obviously, do you have any players playing today? I only have Andy Robertson. And obviously, it's a bit of a Liverpool connection between me and Robertson because I love Liverpool and I love Andy Robertson. But obviously, it doesn't mean too much if you're honest with me. Call me Callum or Cal. All right, no worries, mate. So Callum, what rank are you? No, not what rank are you. How many points do you have? How many points, Callum, do you have in the Euro FPL? Not Euro FPL, Euros Fantasy. Sorry, I'm just texting someone. 198. That is a lot with Muller, Pau Torres, Gnabry, and Ferran Torres still to play. So you could do well on this. You could do well. Who have I got left to play in the Euros? I've got Robertson, Gnabry, Rudiger, and Mbappe, and obviously I've got Muller and Pau Torres on the bench. So if I want to, I can bring them on, which I probably will bring them on for Yarmolenko, who I captained, and obviously Bell as well. So I guess we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, I'm more excited for the Premier League over the Euros because I prefer club football to international. Like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Watching England is fun. It is fun and it is good to watch. Well, not over the previous few games. It's been very frustrating, but it is good to watch, especially in the big tournaments. But watching Liverpool, there's not much more fun than watching Liverpool week in, week out. And obviously, I think a lot of people prefer club football to international football if they're a real football fan. If you're like, I don't know, not like a proper, I mean, like it's hard to explain, but say England play, a lot of just the whole country watch England. So you've got your mums, your dads, your families, people who like football, but not really into it. But the proper, like, hardcore football fans, the proper big ones, obviously want to watch football every week. So they obviously support a club team. So that's why I think a lot of football fans prefer their club over their nationality. Sorry, guys. So I'm getting text. I'm getting text. But yeah, so what I'm thinking now is, I don't know how many people are going to join the stream. I've texted a few people, telling them I'm streaming. Check on YouTube. But it's that sort of time. If you do stream, bear in mind, Callum, mate, if you do get your YouTube channel going and you do stream at some point, I don't know if you want to grow a little bit before you start streaming, but it is better to stream in the evenings as opposed to in the mornings or the afternoons, because a lot of people on the evenings are on their phone. They want to watch YouTube. They're sat down relaxing. A lot of football goes on in the evenings. And in the afternoon, obviously, a lot of people are out. Mornings, people are still in bed. So the best time to stream really is on the evenings or the nighttime. So I'm going to see how it goes and do a few bits and bobs. And we'll just see how it goes for the FPL season. But if you haven't seen my team, I don't know if this is still Kahneman here or some other guy, but that is my team. So we have got Pukki, Bamford, Rafinha, Grealish, De Bruyne, Salah, Webster, Castagne, Target, Diaz, and Martinez. That is going to be my team for the Euros for the start of the Premier League season. But it could change. Reasons why it could change. Obviously, I might see injuries in certain players, which obviously leads me to remove them. I might see players move from... Obviously, if Harry Kane moves to Man City, I feel like I've got to have him, because he could easily shine and do really, really well in that City team. Because obviously he's doing really well at an average Tottenham side. If he goes to a top Man City team, you never know what's going to happen. And obviously, if for some reason any of these players leave the Premier League, which looking at them, I don't think any of them will, obviously I have to change them out. Castagne is an interesting one who I haven't seen yet. So the reasons for picking Castagne is he can either play left wing back or right wing back, so he's versatile. Also, he's got an attacking threat. Last season, he scored a few goals, created a few goals, and also we got into the Belgian team. Yes, he was injured. I don't remember my Euro team at the start, but yes, he is injured now and has been taken out the Belgian team. But he should be raring and fit and raring to go for the new Premier League season. And also, James Justin is still out injured, I'm pretty sure. And obviously, Luke Thomas plays on the left, and obviously got Ricardo Pereira as well. But I feel like if Brendan Rodgers is going to play two fullbacks, they're going to be Castagne and Luke Thomas. But if he thinks Ricardo Pereira has to play, because Ricardo Pereira, people forget, 1920 season, Ricardo Pereira, he was a top football player. He was really, really good. But obviously he had an injury. James Justin come through, or arguably took his spot. So when he came back, it would have been really hard. Then James Justin went out with a long-term injury. Now Luke Thomas is coming in, and he's doing really well as well. But let's just say Brendan Rodgers wants to play Ricardo Pereira. I think he's going to drop Luke Thomas and then move Castagne over to left wing back, because I think Castagne's favoured position is on the left, or it's one of them two, but obviously he's a stronger player than Luke Thomas. So obviously there is options there for Leicester, but I feel like Castagne is more likely to start over the likes of Ricardo Pereira and Luke Thomas at this moment in time. And also, if you look at his performances last season, yes, 94 points doesn't look the best, but bearing in mind he did not play loads of games last season. Obviously, he had fierce competition from the other fullbacks in the team, and he sort of had to ease his way into the team at the start because he wasn't getting much game time. And 4 assists and 2 goals is a pretty good return there. And obviously, if you're thinking about Matt Target, I don't know if you know too much about Matt Target, any of you guys. I have my team. Let's see what you said here. I have my team, but I'm not publishing it public leagues. Ever since I've gotten in the top 4K in Europe, people think I'm a genius for some reason. I have about 175 people DM me asking me what my team. Yeah, that is a fair point, mate. But that is the good thing. If you wanted to create a YouTube channel, because you said you have been wanting to create a YouTube channel, then your subscribers and views should considerably go high if you're in the top 4K. If you've had that many people DMing you, mate. If you told them you had a YouTube channel, think about how many views and subscribers you would get from people coming on and asking you questions. And obviously, you could show your Euro team, and you could, but you don't have to. You could just wait till the Premier League season. And obviously, they think if you're good at Euro, FPL, you're bound to be good at the Premier League one as well. Well, it isn't really Euro FPL because it's just Euro Fantasy. But you know what I'm trying to say there, mate. But yeah, if I head back over to here, Matt Targett. So his last 2 seasons in the Premier League, they have been good ones, especially last season. 138 points, 16 clean sheets in 38 games. Well, he probably didn't even play that many games. That is a lot of clean sheets there for a Villative side. Also, he got quite good in the bonus point system. He got himself 4 assists. Yes, he didn't score. Minutes played 3,404, I assume. But yeah, he didn't score, but 4 assists. So he can get forward and attack quite a lot. And also, I think this season, Villa have obviously signed Emil Buendia. Jack Grealish is obviously going to stay. Ollie Watkins is there. John McGinn. That is quite a fierce proposition going forward there for Villa. And don't get me wrong, Matt Targett can obviously get involved with those, bomb down that left flank, whip balls into the box, and could get even more assists and goals throughout the season. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep him in my team. And then you've got Adam Webster. So the reasonings for picking Adam Webster is he's not necessarily going to start for Brighton. And that sounds like a really rubbish reason, but it's kind of good in a way because I don't have to settle on him every week because he might not even play. And if he doesn't play, I've got Fofana on the bench to come on for him. If Castagna doesn't play, I've got Fofana on the bench. And if both of them don't play, you've got Fabio Silva. And if he doesn't play, you've got Tyler Roberts. So that's when we go into the sticky bit of the situation. But Fabio Silva, despite the fact Raul Jimenez is going to return to Wolves this season, I'm pretty sure. I think he is. Raul Jimenez has recovered from his head injury, which was a really bad one, obviously, with David Luiz, which sent him out for the whole season, which wasn't good at all. But I think he's recovered. And obviously, he's going to come straight back into the first team. You can clearly see how much Wolves have missed Raul Jimenez last season. He is their best player. But you've got to take into account, when you come back from a long-term injury, you can't play every game week in, week out straight away. You've got to ease your way in slowly. Like with Van Dijk at Liverpool, you probably won't see Van Dijk play a full 90 minutes, maybe in the first few games. He'll probably play, I don't know, maybe 45. He might play 70. But you've got to ease your way back into the side. So maybe Jimenez, for the first 5 games of the season, Fabio Silva might play 70 and he might play 30. Then he might play 70. Fabio Silva would play 30. I think it'd be probably a month or two before Raul Jimenez gets to play a full 90 minutes in the Premier League. But don't get me wrong, I really rate him. I think he's one of the best forwards in the league, and I would probably pick him. But for that reason, I am not. And obviously, Timo Pukki is obvious why you would choose Timo Pukki. Despite the fact the guy did tail off in this 1920 season. He was probably the most popular player in the whole... Oh, let's get this up on the screen. Timo Pukki was probably the most popular player for the first 5-10 game weeks in the 1920 season. Pretty much everyone had him in their team, and not surprised there, because he scored something like 5 goals in his first 3-4 games. So for a newly promoted Norwich team, that was absolutely outstanding. So that's why a lot of people picked Timo Pukki. And yes, he did tail off, because over the first 5-10 games, he had about 5-6 goals, and then for the remaining 20, he only got the same amount. But that is understandable. Maybe it was just a little bounce of Norwich. They beat Man City, I remember. I think if we check on history, can you see? That is history, fixtures. You can't really tell, but Man City did get beaten by Norwich, and Pukki played a pivotal role in that. Their first several fixtures of the season do look very, 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 very hard. Obviously, they've got Liverpool, Man City, Leicester, Arsenal as their first 4 games, which is a very tricky set of fixtures, which leads me to putting him on my bench. But don't get me wrong, Pukki could start the season again brilliantly and score in every one of those games. You wouldn't write him off. That's the problem of having him on the bench. That's why I don't have him on the bench. I have him in the starting 11. I thought I had him on the bench. What have you said here, Cannon, mate? My pre-transfers planned out ready for up to game week 4. That is good. So you've already planned your team and transfers for game week 4, what you're going to do. But then if you look at the Leeds assets, their fixtures also look tough for the opening games of the season. But what I take from Leeds is they're a very, very attacking team. Leeds, they score goals pretty much every game. It's a rarity when they don't score. So I feel like you've got to include Leeds attackers in your team. Obviously, Jack Grealish, I feel like he's going to be one of the most highly owned players in the game, and I wouldn't put it past people for choosing him neither, because he's already owned by 28.2%. I guess that's this season, just gone, because there's a not season just gone, this season, which is around the corner, because there's already been, well, look here, 170,000 people already. But yeah, Jack Grealish, you can't go wrong with Jack Grealish. He cost 8 million. 8 million. Where is it? It doesn't even say it. But yeah, he cost £8 million. And look, last 2 seasons, 149 points and 135 points. And you're probably thinking here, that doesn't make any sense. Because, look here, Villa, last season, he scored 6 goals and got 12 assists. What's that? 18 goal contributions. 1920, he got 8 goals, 7 assists. What's that? 15 goal contributions. Yes, he had 3 more goal contributions last season compared to 1920. But if you look at the amount of minutes he played over 1,000 more minutes. And bearing in mind that for every 70, I think 60 or 70 minutes played, it's 2 points. So that's a lot there. Also, bonus points. Look, you got slightly more bonus points in that season as well. So the bonus point system favoured him there very nicely. But he did get a lot more clean sheets. And obviously, midfielders get 1 point for a clean sheet. So he got 12 last season for Villa. And obviously, he is a key man. He only played 2,000 minutes and managed to get 6 goals, 12 assists in this Villa team. And yes, a minute ago, I was raving about all of Villa's qualities. I was raving about how they got Buendia, Grealish, Watkins, McGinn, Target going down the left flank. Yes, they are a very good attacking team, Aston Villa. But they're not like a Man City or a Liverpool or a Chelsea on paper. And to get those stats in the Villa team, especially in 1920, people forget, because last season Villa played really well. Previously, Villa didn't play as well, and he pretty much carried them for staying in the Premier League. What have you said here? I know it's very early, but I think I'm nailed on with my team other than my 4 mil bench player. Who is your 4 mil bench player, FPL, Callum? Who is your 4 mil bench player in your team? And if you do create a YouTube channel, you could obviously show your team. I'm kind of encouraging you because I kind of want you to start a YouTube channel. It should be good, especially with your rank, etc., etc., etc. And all I'm saying, mate, and this is good advice, and I recommend you take it. Watch out for Mbembu and Danny Rose. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that is a shout, to be fair, because obviously Mbembu for Brentford. Brentford are a newly promoted team. Yes, I kind of dislike them because Bournemouth are my second team, and yes, you know what happened in the playoffs. So I kind of have a bit of a what's the opposite for a soft spot? A bit of not really hatred towards them. It's just a bit of I don't know. I just don't really like Brentford, but yeah, Mbembu could be a very good player, and obviously Danny Rose as well. The just signed for Watford, and at 4.5 million, cheap as chips. But I want to go with the tried and tested. I kind of like the tried and tested. And yeah, let's move on to De Bruyne. And as I was saying with Diaz and De Bruyne, for a team like Man City, you don't really have to look too much into the fixtures. You could obviously look quite a lot into the fixtures, for example, if you're going to captain them, because you obviously want to captain a player for a good fixture. But you don't want to look at the fixtures if you're thinking about bringing him in on a permanent basis, because Kevin De Bruyne, one of the best midfielders on the planet Earth, and one of the highest point scorers over the last few seasons in FPL. Look, 251, 209, 199, 131, 141. Look, absolutely outstanding. Yes, he was injured a lot that season and still managed to get himself a few bits and bobs. But look at that. 13 goals, 23 assists. 6 goals, 12 assists. 18 goals, 18 assists. 6 goals, 21 assists. 7 goals, 10 assists. He is an outstanding player. And obviously, Man City are an outstanding team. And that leads me on to Mo Salah. So with Mo Salah as well, I've kind of taken this into account as well, is that with Mo Salah, he has been outstanding for the past several previous seasons. Just look at that. Look at his points. Yes, they have decreased ever so slightly, but look at that. 17-18, the highest point scorer ever in FPL, 303. Last season, 18-19, he managed to get himself 259 points. The season before, in 1920, the season before last, 233, and last season, 231. And look, 22 goals, 19 goals, 22, 32, 12 assists, 10 assists, 6 assists. He's just outstanding. And he has truly been a revelation since he joined Liverpool. And bonus point system has favoured him greatly as well. And look, even when he played at Chelsea, he still managed to get himself a little bit of points. But yeah, I think you can see why I want to choose Liverpool Man City assets. And also being a Liverpool fan, I want to choose them as well. Personally, wouldn't start either in my starting squad, but watch out for them. Yeah. There's always that one player. It was Lundstrom 2 seasons ago, and last season it was probably Souček or a lot of the time it was Souček or Coufal, the right back, Iheanacho. Players that almost catch you off guard. Players that you think, are they going to do well, are they not? And then all of a sudden they kick into gear and everyone owns them. Like Iheanacho last season, my best transfer. I brought him in, saw he scored 1 goal, thought, I may as well bring him in. And when he scored something stupid like 12 goals in the last 12 games, something ridiculous like that. So yeah. Danny Reyes because he takes corners. Or does he take corners? I don't know that. But yeah, if he takes corners for Watford, that is key because think about how many corners you get in a game. Corners throughout the season, one of them is bound to go in. And obviously, Watford's defence can be questionable. When I mean it can be questionable, it only conceded about 30 goals last year, which is really good. But in the Premier League, it's a different proposition compared to the Championship. So yeah, that explains a lot there. But if I hop back over to my team, FPL Callum, mate, no one's really joining, so I don't know how long I'm going to stream for from now on, but I think I've talked through all my players. Oh yeah, you probably missed Fofana, so I'll talk through him again. If anyone joins, I'll talk through Fofana quickly. The reasons for playing Castagne over Fofana is, and I know it is a very controversial reason, but attacking, it's not really controversial, but it's attacking returns. Castagne is a wing back. He can obviously create chances, get goals, get assists. And if you look last season, yes, he probably goes up for quite a few corners. Considering he's quick, though, they might leave him back. But even when he does go up for corners, look, he didn't score last season, even in 2,260 minutes, and he only got 1 assist. And yes, he got 7 clean sheets and only conceded 30 goals, which is really, really good there. So he got a lot of those points. But like I said, he doesn't offer much threat. Whereas Castagne, he got 1 less clean sheet. So he must have played either a game that Fofana didn't play, and he played around the same amount of minutes, but 4 assists and 2 goals. And my opinion on this is that you've kind of got to have a player who is a wing back as opposed to a defender, centre back. So what I'm trying to say, I've done a lot of waffling. I'm getting my mouth's getting dry. But what I'm saying is, if you have 2 players on the same team who are, I'd say Fofana's maybe more likely to start. I've got Fofana as well. Bamford's an interesting one, mate. Yeah, well, I'll go to Bamford in a second. But what I'm saying with Fofana is he's cheap at 4.5 million. He's a budget enabler, so you can bring in a variety of players into your squad if you have Fofana in your team. Also, if Castagne doesn't play, like I said, if Brendan Rodgers chooses not to play Castagne, or he plays Luke Thomas and Ricardo Pereira or James Justin when he gets back and Castagne doesn't play, you've obviously got Fofana to come off the bench. And obviously, like I said, he's more to get attacking returns as well. And Bamford, like I said with Leeds earlier on, the amount of goals Leeds score is ludicrous considering their squad. But it's the way they play. They concede a lot, but also score a lot. If you look last season, 194 points for Bamford, 17 goals and 11 assists. And he did quite well on the bonus point system. 10 clean sheets, obviously, that doesn't matter. But yeah, see, they conceded 50 goals, but they probably scored about a bit more than that anyway. And yeah, 17 goals and 11 assists, and he's an £8 million player, so he's cheap, and he's quite lowly only. I would say sub 10% is probably differential. Oh, how you doing, Joe, mate? How you doing? Yeah, sub 10% is differential, but he's just above 10%, so he's 12.3, which obviously is still very lowly owned. That's why I brought him in. 17 goals, 11 assists last season in a very attacking Leeds team. And then Rafinha as well, 6 goals, 10 assists. Yes, he played less minutes than Bamford, but he also gets clean sheet points, despite the fact Leeds do not keep very many clean sheets. But he is a top player, and I would love to have him at Liverpool. Where in England are you from, mate? I am from Bristol. Well, when I'm at my dad's, I'm from Bristol. But when I'm at my mum's, I'm from Bristol. When I'm at my dad's, I'm from Dorset, like Poole area sort of thing. But yeah, that is my team. Let's hop back over. You couldn't even see. I was just talking about the stats, and you couldn't even see. That's a joke. And then Tyler Roberts. So this is an interesting one that I may change. But I thought to myself, he's 5 million, which is cheap as chips. Cheap as chips for what he brings you. Considering 1 goal and 2 assists. Yes, I know it doesn't look great, but 49 points. What you've got to think there is that would be 6 points for the assists and 5 points for the goals. He's got 11 points from goal contributions, and obviously a few from bonus points. But he got 3 yellow cards. It's not the best, but if you look at him, he's played 1,330 minutes, and he's managed to get himself 49 points. So yes, a lot of those minutes are due to just playing, but with Tyler Roberts, it's more of the eye test. What I've watched, can you pick your team out? Yes, you can, Jake. You can pick your team. What I was saying is that with Tyler Roberts, I watched him a lot last season, and yes, his stats don't look the best, but they're bang average. But he looks like a top player, and yes, he hasn't played for Wales, but when he played for Leeds, and I say he's a top player, he's got potential. I don't know how old he is, but he looks like he's probably 23, 24. That is going off the eye test looking at him there. But what I'm trying to say is, I've got to go, mate. I'll be back in 5. All right, no worries, mate. See you in a bit. Tyler Roberts is a good player. He's creative, and he's in an attacking Leeds team. And also, another big thing I've got to say here is Jack Harrison. Jack Harrison has returned to Man City from his loan move at Leeds, which obviously leads a vacant spot in the team, because a lot of times last season, Leeds played with Rafinha, Patrick Bamford, Jack Harrison. Jack Harrison leaves, there's a space out on the left. And yes, you've got Costa. Yes, you've got Rodrigo. You've got a lot of players who are arguably ahead in the pecking order over Tyler Roberts. But if Tyler Roberts does play well, he could get a run in the Leeds team, especially now Jack Harrison has left. So Tyler Roberts is my bit of he's a differential, because look, 0.2% at the moment. He could become good. And another thing that goes for Tyler Roberts is he is a midfielder. And midfielders get 5 points as opposed to 4 for scoring a goal. So yeah, Tyler Roberts is my differential, and a pick that I would say is a bit random, a bit peculiar, but it could pay off, obviously. And if you just joined, this is my team for the new season. So I've gone with Martinez in goal, Diaz, Target, Castagna, and Webster at the back, Salah, De Bruyne, Grealish, Rafinha in midfield, and then Bamford and Pukki up top. And then on my bench, I went with Guaita. I thought to myself with Guaita, he's 4.5 million. He's cheap. His opening fixtures aren't too great, but then he has a run nearer. If you look down here, he has a run of good games around game week 11, Wolves, Burnley, Villa, Leeds. So it's not the best run in the world, but you could obviously swap him out for Martinez whenever you wanted to. So it's always kind of good to have a second goalkeeper, because a lot over the past few years, I've always had a goalkeeper on the bench who doesn't play. But then when your goalkeeper, for example, Martinez picks up an injury, for example, let's say, or he has a really tough fixture, then you're forced to playing him. And then you don't have a goalkeeper on the bench to bring on. And then, as I was saying, if you just join the stream, I'll say it again, I've said it quite a lot, but basically, Castagna over Fofana. You're probably thinking Fofana, he was one of the best players in the league last season. Yes, he was. But fantasy football is completely different to real life football. Look at Roberto Firmino. Over the past few seasons, Firmino's been questioned for his goal output and his assist output, but you can't deny that he is a quality player. He's technically gifted. He does take part in a lot of Liverpool's attacks, even though he doesn't get goals or assists on the sheet. But in FPL, goals and assists are everything, realistically. That's why players like Salah, Mane, De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Kane, Son are so highly owned, and players, everyone wants them because they're really good. N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante is an interesting one. I've seen a lot of people in Euro pick N'Golo Kante as well, and he is a stupid pick. He may go score tomorrow, and I may look like a stupid guy, but he's a defensive midfielder. Yes, he almost plays as a number 8 at times and does advance on and get further up the pitch and does score. But if you look at N'Golo Kante, we'll go have a look at N'Golo Kante. What's good, mate? How are you doing, Harv? How you doing? We just picked the team. But yeah, for example, I didn't want to have Tyler Roberts anymore. So I switched him out for... oh yeah, I've got to make the transfers. Let's go to transfers. Sorry, my bad. So we'll go over to transfers. And I'll show you why N'Golo Kante and defensive midfielders aren't really a good option. So we'll remove Tyler Roberts, and we'll go through all the midfielders. And actually, just type up here. It'll take forever to go through all the midfielders. N'Golo Kante. So, N'Golo Kante. That's a decent team. That will get you points. It should do, mate. I want it to get me points. But, you know, the Euro team, it started off well. The team looked good, and it didn't get me anything. But, yeah, look at N'Golo Kante. if he's highly owned, it's not surprised because a lot of people think he's a good player, and he is a very good player in Kante. But if you look at his recent seasons in FPL, look, 62 points and 57 points. Chelsea finished top 4 last season, and a midfielder like Kante only managed to get himself 62 points, and he didn't score and didn't get and only got 2 assists. Yes, he got clean sheet points, but 10 clean sheets. Oh, you can't even see my screen. There we go. Sorry, 10 clean sheets for N'Golo Kante. So that's 10 points right there. 2 assists. That's 16 points. And then he played 2,000 minutes. So a lot of those points there are from actually playing football and just getting minutes. And he did get a few for the bonus points. I mean, in 1920, only 3 goals, 0 assists. Even that season, 4 goals, 4 assists isn't bad for a defensive midfielder. But you can't go to Kante there. Let's take out, I don't know, let's take out De Bruyne. I'm not going to get rid of De Bruyne, but I just want to prove a little point here real fast. Let's type in, who's a player I could compare him to who plays for Chelsea? Let's see, who plays for Chelsea in midfield, who creates a lot. All right, let's think of a midfielder. All right, there's not Kante that played in the Premier League last season, who is almost a number 8. Anyone put in a chat a midfielder is creative, not really a creative midfielder, like a number 8. Someone put in the chat, played in Premier League last season, who was in number 8. Who did you have last season in the league? Trying to think. Central midfielder. All right, I found one. All right, Thiago. Thank you, mate. Thiago. So, Kante last season managed to get himself 62 points, and he played that many minutes. If we go look at Thiago, this guy only scored 1 goal last season for Liverpool, and everyone was critiquing him for not playing well, and he managed to get himself 55 points. So he only got 7 points less than Kante. Thiago did. Only 7 points less. And he played a lot less minutes, and he did contribute to Kante had 2 assists, and obviously Thiago had 1 goal. So that is a bit less. But what I'm trying to say, and what am I trying to get across with my point is, Souček maybe, yeah. Souček is a very good option right there. A player like Kante is a lot better than Souček. Not loads, but he's quite a bit better. And Thiago, they offer something different. But players who play in teams who are creative, like all right, I got a really good player here. What's that player? What's that player who played for West Brom last season and he was on loan from Chelsea? Was it Gallagher? Was that the player? Let's hop over. I think he's gone back to Chelsea. Assuming this is the guy. You already had the maximum number of midfielders. Yes, all right, get on with it. Remove Thiago, bring in Gallagher. So I'm not going to play this guy. If you just joined the stream or anything like that, I'm not playing Gallagher. I just want to prove a point. Yeah, so look, last season for West Brom, Conor Gallagher got himself 71 points. Last season for Chelsea, Kante got himself 62 points. And obviously, who was the better player out of Kante and Liam Gallagher and Conor Gallagher? Obviously, it's N'Golo Kante. I think if you asked 1,000 football fans, I think 998 of them would say Kante is a better footballer than Conor Gallagher. But Conor Gallagher got more points in FPL. That's why in FPL, goals and assists are everything. 2 goals, 2 assists in a West Brom team who got relegated, or N'Golo Kante in a Chelsea team who finished top 4, 2 assists and got less points. So what I'm trying to say there is players like Kante, players like N'Golo Kante, players like Fabinho, players like Fernandinho, players like Rodri, players like Kovacic, players like Højbjerg, players like those. So 7 now I just named. And there's plenty more out there. João Moutinho, he plays on set pieces. Neves, he doesn't create too much. How are you doing, FPL Penguin, mate? How are you doing? What I'm trying to say is, N'Golo Kante is not really a good option for FPL. Like I said, Conor Gallagher, he got himself 71 points last season. Kante got himself 62 points. And Conor Gallagher plays in a West Brom team that got relegated. And N'Golo Kante plays in a Chelsea team that got top 4. And don't get me wrong, Kante is a much better player. I wasn't even showing you the screen there. But yeah. So Kante last season, 62 points. Conor Gallagher last season for West Brom, 71. So Conor Gallagher got 9 more points, and he's playing in a West Brom team that got relegated, and Kante's playing in a Chelsea team who got top 4. If you get what I'm trying to say there. So don't bring in defensive midfielders. Just don't bring in defensive midfielders. They're not a good asset to have as much as however good they are. And a lot of people, some people, well, not a lot of people. One person asked me earlier on in the stream, who did I have in there? Tyler Roberts. Yeah, to be honest, like you look at his stats, he barely got any more points than Kante, about the same. But he played considerably less minutes. And now Jack Harrison has left. So if you didn't know already, let's bring him back into the team. There we go. So an underrated pick would be Raul Jimenez if he plays because he did before the horror injury. Yeah, so basically, Jake, I was saying earlier on, you probably weren't in the stream, but yeah, I was thinking of bringing in Raul Jimenez. But I thought to myself, this man here, Fabio Silva, he's been really good for Wolves, and I'm not saying he is a better player than Raul Jimenez. Fabio Silva is not a better player than Raul Jimenez, but Raul Jimenez had that horrific injury, which has kept him out for 7-8 months by the time the Premier League season starts, maybe even more than that. So Jimenez, when he comes back into the team, he's not going to be very sharp, and obviously he's not going to play many minutes. So for most likely the first 4 or 5 game weeks of the season, it'd probably be Fabio Silva playing 70, Raul Jimenez playing 30. Raul Jimenez playing 70, Fabio Silva playing 30. Until Raul Jimenez builds up his fitness and sharpness, I don't think we'll see the best of him, Jake. That's what I'm thinking. So as much as I love Raul Jimenez and he's a top player, how you doing, mate? How you doing? You're back. So as much as I rate Raul Jimenez and as much as I think he's a top player, I think Fabio Silva is obviously going to get a run in the team a lot. And look, he didn't do too badly. He played just over 1,000 minutes, 4 goals, 3 assists. So that's not too shabby there. And then, yeah, that is... I can't really tell what more to talk about my team, really. I've talked about Pukki, talked about Bamford, talked about Rafinha. Who haven't I really talked about? I've talked a bit about Adam Webster. Talk about him again. But the thing is with I'm just doing my team now. No worries, I'll make any questions, just put them in the chat, and I'll probably stream for a little bit longer. Adam Webster over the previous seasons, 2,500 minutes, 2,000, nearly 700 minutes. Yes, he doesn't offer too much of a goal threat, and Lewis Dunk, obviously, Lewis Dunk offers a much better goal threat than Webster. But the thing is that with Adam Webster, he's 0.5 million cheaper, and with this team now, I could stretch to Lewis Dunk, but then it would put me in the dilemma of, do I play Lewis Dunk more often than not, or do I play the other defenders? And I really want to have a settled team for the first few game weeks. And also, if you look at Brighton's first 2 fixtures, those 2 games you really want to target. Burnley don't score too many goals, despite the fact Chris Wood was really good last season, and Watford. Yes, they've got a fair few good attackers, with Ismail Assar being one of them, but at the same time, are they really going to get through Brighton's defence? When a lot of the time last season, Brighton did play really well, and they did keep a lot of clean sheets near the end of the season. I'm kind of going against my old point here. I'll make my team. I'll make my team after the stream. No worries, mate. But I'm thinking now. I'm kind of backtracking. I am going to bring in Lewis Dunk. Ignore what I was saying about Webster. I'm going to bring in Lewis Dunk. This lad is probably the most underrated player in FPL last season. 130 points. Let's just put this into context. You can't even see the screen. All right. So Lewis Dunk last season in FPL got 130 points. Matt Targett last season in FPL got 138. So Matt Targett only got 8 more points than Lewis Dunk. 3,404 minutes played for Matt Targett. So Lewis Dunk played 500 less minutes, and he played for Brighton, who finished... Where did Brighton finish last season? 14th, 15th? And Villa finished about 10th, 11th. And he got 4 assists. Yeah, that's quite good. But Lewis Dunk managed to get himself 5 goals as a centre-back. And obviously, I said Brighton, 11 clean sheets in 38 games. That is not bad for Brighton at all. And when he was on the pitch, they only conceded 40 goals. So it shows that Lewis Dunk is a top central defender and could have arguably been in contention for not starting in the Euros, but getting picked for the Euros. When can you start making the leagues? Do you know? I haven't quite looked into that. I could look into that now. I might start up a league like right now. I might start a league right now. We'll get him in. We'll make those transfers and we'll set up my team. But what I'm trying to say is, there's anything you can take before we set up the league. One second. There's anything you can take from this stream. Don't go with defensive midfielders. That could be one of the worst things I've said. You can take who go score a hat trick in the first game. But if you look at the stats, and the stats will back it up, yes, stats aren't everything. Defensive midfielders are really good players in real life, but they're not good for FPL. It's the same with players like Firmino, players like Giroud, players like, I'm trying to think of some players, Bernardo Silva, players like, I'm trying to think of some more players, Podence. There's 4 players that I've just listed that are good players, but not really good for FPL. That's why FPL is stats based. That's why I think a lot of people look too much into stats, and sometimes you've got to do the eye test. And FPL is probably 80% stats and 20% eye test. But then it obviously varies. If, like, for example, I've got in my team, let's go back over my team. In my team, I've got, where is he? Tyler Roberts. I just got to put Pookie in real fast. So in my team, I have got Tyler Roberts. So last season, if you looked at the stats, he only got himself 1 goal and 2 assists. And 1 goal and 2 assists is not very good. And yeah, it's not good on paper. But if you watch Tyler Roberts play, he scored. I saw him one game. He scored a goal, which was offside. He was constantly creating chances. He was running in behind, and he looked good. And say, for example, you have a player. Let's see me, because it's a bit more interesting than that at the moment. What I say is, so say you have a player in FPL. And so you're watching the game on TV and you see a player and he's playing really well. He's creating chances. He scored, but it was offside. He's making runs in behind and he's playing against a decent opposition. And his next games maybe are Norwich. Say you have Tyler Roberts. So you watch Tyler Roberts. Let's have a look at Tyler Roberts real fast. So Tyler Roberts' first game of the season is against, we'll go to West Ham. So on game week, where is he? Quickly, give me a second, lads. So on game week 6, let's whip this up on the screen a second. Right, game week 6, Leeds play West Ham. And you might watch Tyler Roberts against West Ham and you might think he's playing well. He's a good creative player. He's making runs in behind. He's creating chances, etc., etc., etc. And then you might go over to FPL and you might think, Tyler Roberts last season, he got himself 1 goal and 2 assists. It's not very good. But then you look at his next fixtures and he has Watford, Southampton, Wolves and Norwich. And then you start to think, maybe Tyler Roberts is a good option for the next several games. So you can't just look at stats, because if you look to Tyler Roberts and say he, I don't know, say he plays West Ham and he doesn't score or assist anything, but he creates chances. He scored a goal that was offside. He's made runs in behind constantly. You would never have known that if you didn't watch the game. So sometimes you got to watch the game and obviously look at different aspects to the team. But yeah, why do you have a 6 mil bench player with Fabio Silva? So basically, I have Fabio Silva on my bench because I'm happy with my current starting 11. I'm happy with all of them. And also, I was thinking, if you look at Wolves' fixtures, after Leicester, Tottenham and Man United from game week, yes, you could say you could bring in someone for the first 3 game weeks, but after the first 3 game weeks, they've got Watford, Brentford, Southampton, Newcastle. That there is 4 really good fixtures. And obviously, Raul Jimenez, as I've said countless times, he's going to come back from his injury some point in the season, probably at the start of the season, but he's not going to play 90 minutes straight away. He might play 70 minutes here. He might play 30 minutes there. He's not going to play a full 90 minutes for probably the first 5-10 game weeks. So I think Fabio Silva is going to get a run in the team, which leads me to think that I'm going to play him in either of those games. And obviously, for example, say Timo Pukki, I'm playing him against Liverpool at home, which is a tough game. But after that, he's got Man City, Leicester and Arsenal. Do I want him to play him for those 3 games? No, I'd rather probably play someone like Fabio Silva, who has Tottenham, Man United and Watford. Yes, it might look a similar sort of fixtures, but Wolves are arguably a better team than Norwich. And also, another thing, wouldn't you rather invest the money elsewhere and then transfer a game would probably be more logical and give you more funds? Yeah, you have got a point there, mate. That is a solid point. But looking at the teams, come on, guys. put some names in the chat who you think I could bring in, because looking at this team here, I'm happy with the midfield because Rafinha, 6 goals and 11 assists. I want to say, let's have a look. Rafinha last season, he managed to get himself 10 assists and 6 goals, and he only played 2,358 minutes. Only, I say, but some players have played 1,000 more minutes than him. So yeah, he got 133 points. Came from the French league to the English Premier League, did really well. Jack Grealish, 8 million. Jack Grealish is £8 million. So you can't go wrong with Jack Grealish for 8 million. Look at the last 2 seasons. 19-20 is just outstanding. Yes, he got more points than last season. But last season, look at the minutes. He played almost 1,000 less minutes last season compared to 19-20. And also he kept more clean sheets, which isn't much points, but he kept more clean sheets. But he didn't favour the bonus point system as much as he did the previous season. But yeah, Jack Grealish is obviously Villa's danger man and Villa's best player. So you've kind of got to have him in the team, especially with Villa's first few fixtures. So Villa have Watford, Newcastle and Brentford. And I'm looking at those 3 fixtures and I'm thinking, I'm not saying that it's going to happen because you never know with FPL. It could go all to rubbish. But yeah, Jack Grealish could profit in those 3 games. And when I looked at Kevin De Bruyne, I don't think fixtures really matter too much of a player like De Bruyne and in a team like Man City. But Tottenham is a red fixture, but Tottenham, you all know what Tottenham's defence is like. It's not exactly a brick wall. And then he's got Norwich and Arsenal, who are quite easy teams to get through as well. Considering Arsenal are a weird one because they look crap when they play in real life, but their defensive record last season wasn't actually that bad. And then, yes, they've got Leicester, but Southampton, Chelsea. But once you get to, there is a point in the season when Man City have a good set of fixtures. I think it's this bit here. Yeah, look. From game week 23 to game week 27, obviously this is totally in advance and it doesn't really have much relevance now, but they play Norwich, Brentford, Southampton, Tottenham and Everton, and that is a good set of fixtures there. And then for Salah. So Mo Salah, I think everyone knows why I brought in Mo Salah. His stats for the past 4 seasons, 231 points, 233 points, 259, 303. It's just outstanding. And his first few fixtures are reasonable as well. So looks quite good there for Liverpool throughout. Yes, they do hit a sticky patch here where this could be title race, season challenge. This could be top 4 race. You don't know what's going to happen here. But for the first several game weeks of the season, it does look quite good for Liverpool. Let's go back to the chat. We've got a few questions in the chat. If you wanted to, if your players play poor for the first 5 games, you could bring in Calvert-Lewin. Yes, that is a shout. I haven't looked too much into Calvert-Lewin, but we'll have a look at him now real fast. Let's go to transfers. That's a good shout. To be honest, I am a Liverpool fan, so I don't look too much into Everton and Man United assets, which leaves me to obviously miss out sometimes the players who play well for them. So that is a shout. That is a shout, Jake, mate. Credit there. Credit where credit is due. You looked at the Everton players and you did very well there. So Calvert-Lewin could be a really good player to bring in for the opening game weeks. Sorry, I didn't look at that, but Calvert-Lewin, he has Southampton at home, Leeds away, Brighton away, Burnley at home, Aston Villa away, and Norwich away for the first 6 game weeks. They can beat Southampton. Leeds leave loads of gaps, which obviously Everton could exploit. Then he has Brighton. Brighton are a solid defensive side, but you can still get at them. Same with Burnley. And Villa is probably the toughest opposition there over the first 5 game weeks. And then obviously newly promoted Norwich. At the start of the season, you could look at Norwich and obviously see how they do. If they don't do very well for the first few game weeks, you're probably wanting to bring Calvert-Lewin in for that game. But if Norwich start off the season well, you never know. They could hold Everton out. My midfield is Grealish, Son, Salah, Barnes. What do I think? Yeah, I rate that. I rate that midfield because with Grealish, what was I saying? With Grealish, let's go back to pick team. With Grealish, Son, Salah, and Barnes, that is a very balanced midfield in the sense of you've got Grealish, who plays for Aston Villa, got a really good set of opening fixtures. Son for Tottenham. I don't know Tottenham's fixtures. Let's just check Tottenham's fixtures real fast. Transfers. Son, give me a second. So Son's opening fixtures are, well, they're not too bad. Let's just say that. Man City is going to be a tough game, don't get me wrong. But it all depends on if Harry Kane is still there. For example, if Harry Kane leaves Tottenham for Man City, I don't know whether I would bring in Son for the first few games. That's how pivotal Kane is to Tottenham's attack. But obviously, Harvey, you know yourself, you're a Tottenham fan. And then they've got Wolves, Watford, and Palace. Son, last season, Son started the season off amazing. I think he scored 4 goals against Southampton. He had like 3 assists. He was absolutely brilliant for the opening few game weeks, and he caught a lot of people off guard because if you look at Son's stats through his history of the seasons, last season was by a mile his best season. He got 6 more goals than he did in the previous season. Yes, 2 less assists, but look, 228 FPL points, did play a bit more minutes compared to 169. And for the start of that season, he was outstanding. And then who else did you say you had in midfield? Salah and Barnes. Yeah, Salah, we don't really need to speak too much on Salah. I think everyone knows why a lot of people have chosen Salah. And he could have a poor season like Mane did last season. And Mane could have an excellent one. But you never know. You've got the first game week's always probably the hardest to pick because for the first game week, you don't really know too much on how teams are going to play. You don't know if players are going to have a sticky patch. Who's going to play realistically? For like Norwich, Brentford, and who's the other newly promoted team? Norwich, Brentford, and Watford. Those 3 teams there, you know a lot of their key players. You know Tony, you know Pukki, you know Ismail Assar. There's 3 attacking players there, and they're pretty much going to start. But you don't really know how they're going to completely set up. So for over those first 3-4 game weeks, you can obviously take note on how the team's set up and what players are playing well. So I'd recommend you guys to give a watch to some of the newly promoted teams because their teams aren't as set in stone as the likes of Wolves, Leicester, Brighton, Palace, Newcastle, teams that have already in the Premier League for a number of years. So watch their first few games of the season with those teams playing, and you could pick up different bits and bobs. What players are good options that you could bring into your team? That's why the eye test is important. It's not all about stats. What is your front 3? Harvey's front 2 is Cavani and Saint Maximin. I love Cavani as an option. Class differential for 8.5 million. Is that mate? He bags goals as well. Yeah, to be fair, that is a shout with Cavani as an option. 8.5 million as well. I don't know what's happening with Martial at Man United. He's just, I don't know if he's going to even get shoe in the team. Yes, Cavani is 34 or whatever, so he's not going to be around for much longer, but he was excellent last season when he played. And obviously St. Maximin as well. He is cheap. I think he's 6.5 million, and he is he Newcastle's best player? Put in the comments, who is Newcastle's best player? Is it St. Maximin or is it Callum Wilson? Because Callum Wilson, if we have a look, and my goalkeeper, Harvey, is Martinez and Guaita. So I chose Martinez and Guaita as my goalkeeper. Let's get Pukki back in real fast. Martinez and Guaita, that's what I've chosen there. Because Martinez last season, let's get the vice captain off him. I didn't even realize on him. Put the captain on Grealish. Salah. I moved the vice captain to Grealish. And yeah, Martinez last season, I think he was in. Right, so basically you can't even see my screen. Last season for Villa, he managed to get himself 186 points. That is, I think, in the top 5 best ever points tallies for goalkeepers in the FPL season. 15 clean sheets and the bonus point system, 825. This guy picked up so many bonus points, but it was also, what's this popping up? It was also due to saves. 142 saves he made in the league. 142. And if you look at someone like, let's have a look at Guaita's. I think Ederson's a bad option to compare him to because with Martinez, he's put under a lot more pressure than the likes of Ederson. He had 107 saves. And yeah, Sanchez is a good shout because through the opening games of the season, Brighton's fixtures are favourable. So yeah, I was thinking of bringing him in, but I chose not to. I thought I may as well bring in Guaita because I'm not even going to play him. I'm going to play Martinez for the first opening games just because his fixtures look so good on paper. Because Villa's defence looks a lot stronger than it did in previous seasons. Even though they're the same set of lads, they're slowly growing, building confidence together. And also, he was probably the best goalkeeper in the Premier League last season. So truly outstanding in there. And yeah, that is basically my team right there. So if you go overall, we've got Martinez in goal, Diaz, Target, Castagne, Dunk at the back. Obviously, Castagne and Fofana, whoever plays is going to start out of those two. Then we got Salah as captain, De Bruyne, Grealish, and Rafinha in midfield. It offers balance. They've all had good campaigns last season, and their fixtures are decent, let's to say the least, especially those two. And then up front, Bamford and Pukki. Bamford, I know it's a hard place to go to, Man United, Old Trafford, but Leeds are a very attacking side. And with Calvert-Lewin, things with Calvert-Lewin, remember when I said get him in last season, but you committed to McCarthy and he went and conceded 9 goals. Yeah, you did say that last season. You said bring in Martinez. I thought, no, I'll stick with McCarthy. And then he went and conceded 9 goals against Man United. That's probably one of my worst bits of last season. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, and then Bamford. Things with Calvert-Lewin. He is a good player, don't get me wrong. But I read some stat that most of Calvert-Lewin's goals, he scores pretty much nearly all of them in the box. So he doesn't offer much of a threat outside the box. And then if you think about his opening games, this is like Statman Zach coming out here. Fabio Silva, let's just remove him for Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin. Statman Zach coming into play here for the opening several games. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin, opening fixtures are Burnley and Brighton are in his first 4 opening fixtures. Yes, these 2 he can get points, which could lead me to bring him in for Bamford over the first few game weeks. But if you look at Brighton, Burnley and Villa, let's just highlight those 3 fixtures. If most of Calvert-Lewin's goals come in the box and not outside the box, and what is probably Burnley's best attribute? I can't even see the screen. I always just what is Burnley's best attribute? Heading balls out the box. What are Brighton quite good at as well? Heading balls out the box. You've got Lewis Dunk, Adam Webster, Ben White when he plays. Same with Villa. You've got Tyrone Mings, Konsa. You've also got obviously the goalkeeper's a top keeper. He can come and claim the crosses. I'm thinking. Well, I thought of most of this on the spot, but Calvert-Lewin could less likely to profit in his games if he's going to score a lot of goals in the box and the crosses are coming in. But then against Southampton and Leeds, I think Leeds are a really good team to have your player captain for, because the thing is with Leeds, they leave so many gaps, and it's not even a joke. The amount of gaps they leave in behind, but it's the way Bielsa plays. Bielsa's philosophy is throw about 28,000 men forward, and then obviously leave gaps at the back. So Leeds are a good team to attack. Who have you got? I saw that, but I didn't know if you were going to follow up with a comment. Maybe he's typing a massive team now in the chat. If Kane joins Man City, are you going to get him? So, I'll talk about this later on. Yes and no. I know that's the shittest answer I could give you, but the thing is with Kane joining Man City is that on paper, it looks like a really good option for Kane to join Man City. And obviously, if he joins Man City, he's going to be arguably in the best team in the league. And if he can score 23 goals, what was it last season, get like 12 assists or whatever, playing in a Tottenham team, think about what he could get in the Man City team. But I've watched him play in the Euros, and he hasn't played well so far. That could be due to transfer speculation, fitness, etc., etc. And obviously, when he moves to Man City, I don't want to throw him in straight away, because I know he's been in the Premier League for years, and I know he's one of the best strikers in the world, but I want to see how he eases into the team. If De Bruyne will play the false nine maybe, and Kane might play 40 minutes, 30 minutes in his first game or so to get used to the system. So I won't bring him in straight away. But if he starts banging in goals, yeah, there's no question I'm going to bring him in, because he could easily get 30 goals in that Man City team. Do you play football? Yes, I do play football. I play left back mostly for my local team. And I'm not exactly great. I'm not exactly rubbish. I'm just an average player. I'm quite quick. Do make a few tackles here and there. Play a good few balls down the line. I'm a decent player, and yeah, I do play football. Do you play football, Callum, mate? I know Harvey does. Harvey's good at football. He's what are you, Harvey? A wing back, dribbling down the line, playing balls into the box, etc., etc., etc. So right, the stream's now on an hour and 34 minutes. I'm going to end it at an hour 40. So about another 5 more minutes. Get your questions in if you want to. And then, yeah, for the last several minutes of the stream, last 5 minutes, get your questions in. But here is my team for the opening game week. Oh, no, we've got to change the blooming captain. Every time I check, I've got to change the captain. But, yeah, that is my team for the opening game week. Oh, no. Oh, I just missed out on something. Sorry, guys. In goes Pookie, and then Fabio Silva goes second bench. So, yeah, I think I've justified all my reasons for my team. But I think I'm going to go with that as my opening game. And unless I might, and this is a big question, I might take out Patrick Bamford for Dominic Calvert-Lewin for those first 2-3 game weeks, because those first few game weeks really do favour Everton. They've got a good set of fixtures, and Leeds' fixtures are quite tough. But I recommend game week 7 bringing in Leeds assets. Watford, Southampton, Wolves, Norwich. You can't really get much better than that for scoring goals. And obviously, Leeds' fixtures are weird. They don't really have too many green patches, but they've got a lot of red and obviously the really tough games throughout the rest of the season. But yeah, so that is going to be my team for the upcoming Premier League season. It may change. I may bring in Bamford. I may take out Bamford and bring in Calvert-Lewin, or I may keep Bamford. What you said there. I play usually CDM or centre back, mate, for my local team. Fair enough. You a tall guy. Is that why you play centre back, or you CDM good at tackling? I'm a bit like Lewis Dunk, so I'm 6'2" and I score from corners. I respect that. Yeah, I'm like not even barely 5'7", so you ain't gonna see me scoring from corners anytime soon. And yeah, Lewis Dunk, 5 goals last season from set pieces. That's why I brought him into my team. And I did initially have Adam Webster in. But then after a bit of thinking over, a bit of chatting with the chat, I decided to bring in Lewis Dunk because 5 goals from corners last season, an aerial presence, Brighton's captain. He's probably the most guaranteed starter in that Brighton team. And his opening set of fixtures are quite nice as well. Sorry, I can't see my screen. His opening set of fixtures are Burnley and Watford, Everton and Brentford. So maybe by Everton is a tough one, but those two could easily score from and keep clean sheets. Same with Brentford. And also Palace, Arsenal and Norwich. So the opening start of the season, they've got up until game week 14, or even game week 18, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red fixtures and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green fixtures. So, and then obviously a bunch of the grey ones, which are like average. So obviously green means it's an easy fixture on paper. Red means it's a hard one. And then you've got this colour red. Where is it? Surprised they don't have it for Liverpool, but I guess Liverpool didn't have a good season last season. But where is it? Oh, there it is. So that fixture there, that colour there, I'm the colourblind. I think it's dark red. That is like the most hard, painful fixture for a team on paper, basically. So yeah, Brighton's opening fixtures do look very good. And obviously, so do Liverpool's, to be honest with you. Liverpool's opening fixtures, Norwich, Burnley. Then they got Chelsea, but they got Leeds, Palace, Brentford. So Liverpool's fixtures, they do get tougher throughout the middle of the season, especially. Look, around here, they've got Leicester, Tottenham, Chelsea. Then a few weeks, they've got Leicester again. Then they've got Arsenal, West Ham, and Man United and Man City. I mean, obviously, as the season ends, it is quite nice for them with Newcastle, Tottenham, Southampton, and Wolves. But yeah, that's my team. Obviously, Salah's going to be my captain. Norwich at home. Norwich away, sorry. There's an away game. Why can't it be a home game for Liverpool? Every start of the season, I want Liverpool to watch them at home at Anfield, a full set of Anfield fans, possibly. I don't know what capacity is going to be let into the ground, but it would be lovely if Salah and Liverpool were playing at Anfield. But yeah, as long as they can beat Norwich, I'll be happy. So can we make the league? Oh yeah, sorry, Jake, I forgot about that. Let me double check if I can make the league. Because if I do, I'll make the league now, and then you guys can join the mini league if you want to. So, fan leagues, general leagues, create or join leagues and cup. So let's go over to here. Join a league, create a new league. Yeah, create a new league and cup. Choose the type to create. Classic scoring. Yeah, obviously that's based on the game. So this we're gonna create a league and we're gonna call it a league name. Leagues that are not gonna be inappropriate or offensive. Do you support any local teammate? I support Liverpool. That's my main team, and then my dad lives in Dorset. He's lived around Bournemouth all his life, so Bournemouth is like my second team. So yeah, sort of. Scoring starts game week 1. So the league is going to be called the. Let's zoom in a bit so you guys can see a bit better before we end the stream. We'll just do this. So the league for the new FPL season, for FPL Skills League, it might be a prize league. You all can join, and I might put a prize at the end of it, but I'll think about it. I'll see how things go. So it's going to be called the FPL Skills League. Oh, it's not spelled league. There we go. The FPL Skills League scoring starts in game week 1. So that's when my local club is Cork City. We're the worst team on FIFA, but I support Chelsea. But fair enough. That's your Prem team, and then Cork City. God, I've never really heard of Cork City. FPL hopefully dropped to your sub, mate. Oh, has he created his channel? Basically, I don't know where I'll share it with you guys. I don't know if you're all right with it, FPL. Callum, mate. But he might create a new YouTube channel because he's very good at FPL. So it'd be kind of good if he creates a new YouTube channel. I was trying to encourage him, and he might do it. He might not, but we'll see how it goes, isn't it, Callum? Scoring starts in game week 1. Create a league. starting the season, you can create a League Cup for those who joined your invitational. League Cups will start in the second half of the season, dependent on the size of your league, and we'll conclude in game 30. Yeah, we'll create a League Cup as well for the thing. So, the FPL Skills League. If you want to join it, the FPL Skills League, the options are, where is it? Invite friends. There's the league code. So zoom right in so you guys can see the league code. That is the league code. So anyone on the stream now, take a picture of that, type that in, and then you can join the FPL Skills League, and then it will start on August the 13th at 6:30 when the first game week starts. So that is the code there. 06M9X0. So it is a relatively simple code to remember. And that is the end of the stream, pretty much. So just before I wrap it up, that's the league code. My final team, the last time I'm going to show you this, pick team. Gosh, we're zoomed in. You can almost see they've smoothed out the players' faces. Look at this. Are you going to tell me how much can we go in? It's 200% at a lot. There you go. You're going to tell me that Jamie Vardy, all these players have that smooth faces with no wrinkles. But no offense, but like he's not. They're not exactly like they're like those players are quite young, but these guys are not exactly the youngest players in the world. And it looks like they've been airbrushed their faces. You can't even see the screen, but there you go. Look, done it. Look there. I was told waffling and you couldn't even see the screen. Look at this, Jamie Vardy here, and Basuma, and even Trent, but not so much. But anyway, don't they look like they've airbrushed their faces to make them look better to promote their fantasy football? They might do. It's not the most relevant information, but it kind of does. So I'm glad you guys have joined the league. So you join the league, there could be a prize. Could be a prize at the end of it. You'll have to wait and find out. There might be one. I might put in some, like, I don't know, gift card in there at the end. But we'll see how it goes throughout the season. And if I turn out winning the mini league, then, I don't know, I might just give it to second place just because I'm nice. But I might not even win the league. Depends. Last season I did. But Harvey, you did run me right down to the wire, didn't you? You did run me right down to the wire. What are your thoughts on Ward-Prowse, mate? Well, I looked at him. He was 6.5 million, and I thought him or Rafinha. I'd rather have Rafinha, but Ward-Prowse is probably the best free kick taker in the Premier League. He's on corners, and if Danny Ings doesn't play, he's on penalties. So he could be a very good asset to have in your team. And you have to look for his fixtures. I haven't looked through them, and if he's good, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'll probably bring him in. And Foden apparently benched for the England match. Oh, really? That is kind of good in the way. I think it should be Sancho. Kane up front. I don't think Kane should be dropped despite his first 2 poor games, because if you have Grealish and Sancho, 2 really creative players either side of him, he should get a lot more service and possibly score for England this evening. And I won't be streaming that game. I'm just watching it with a few friends, so no streams tonight for that game. But yeah, that is my final team right there. Take it. Oh, I got to change the captain again. If I have to change this captain again every time, I'll change the captain every time. But yeah, that is my team. And then the mini league. If you have joined the mini league, there could be a potential prize. I'll put the code on my Instagram. I might make a post. I'll put it as a highlight. I'll put it on my story so you can all join the league. By the way, mate, we are having a stinker in the Euro Fantasy. Yes, if I hop over to Euro Fantasy at the moment, you, Harvey, are, where are you? You're 27th in the mini league on 103 points, and I'm 112 fourth in the mini league. So yeah. Especially, I'm not having the best season. I mean, this guy here, FPL Integrity. What's the EuroLeague code, mate? All right, we'll let him in the EuroLeague, Harvey, mate. But you ready for this? This guy is about top 4K in the world. I'll get the EuroLeague code up real fast, mate. Give me a second. So the EuroLeague code is... Where is it? Oh, yeah. Give me a second. I know how to access it. But don't worry, tonight, if any of you have England players, you'll be in for a treat. But let me just work out the Euro code and then I'll type it in the chat. Give me a second. Archives, because basically I've got to go on my phone. I've got to go on my story and then look through archives until I find the code for the mini. So the code is, let me type it in the chat real fast. 12. This guy is going to probably win the mini league. Callum is. There's no prize for the mini league in Euros, but probably for the FPL teams. I might put something in there for you guys. So yeah, there is the code. That is the code for the mini league. It's so hard, Jamie, because I put Locatelli stuff in and they don't play. Yeah, that's the thing. But Harvey, I said this to Jake the other day. For the Italy game, the deadline for the match day was 5 o'clock, and Italy game started at 5 o'clock, but the lineups were released at 4. So if you checked at 4 o'clock that Locatelli wasn't playing, you could have transferred them out. Because I had Spinazzola and Insigne in, I captained Insigne, saw the lineups come out at 4, and then they weren't playing, so I transferred them out. Joined. Yeah, mate, you're probably going to storm this league now. Let's have a look. Let's go over here. You haven't said you joined yet. I'll reload the page real fast. You guys can't see this, but I can. Give me a second. No, you haven't. Hasn't said you joined yet, but obviously, if you go check on the FPL Skills League, that is the code there. If you want to join the Euro one, Poland, Spinazzola, and they didn't play. Yeah, so just take that into account. For example, if I go on my phone a second, because it's quick and simple and easy. Yeah, actually, no, we'll do it on here so you guys can see as well. If we go over to, oh gosh, where do I go? Fantasy football overview. Your team needs you. Oh, Thomas Muller's injured. It doesn't matter. He was on the bench anyway. So the team locks in at 8 o'clock. So, for example, tonight, you have to choose your team on Euro 2020 Fantasy by 8 o'clock. So, at 7 o'clock, or just before, the lineups will be released for the England game. So, say you had Foden in your team, and then he turns out he wasn't playing. Because the lineups were released an hour before the deadline, you can swap him out. So that is a little trick that isn't in FPL. Because in FPL, the deadline is usually an hour before the first kick. Well, it's usually, an hour before the first game starts. So you can't check on lineup. So you've really got to have a punt there. But on Euro, there is a little tactic you can use. You're 4th. I'm 7th, mate. I don't know who is first. Whoever it is. Yeah. Right. You think this guy in the Euro League who's destroying us is first. Wait till you see FPL Integrity, Callum, in the Euro League. Oh, mate, he is like leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else. Even that guy at the top is a little bit higher as well. So that is it all done and dusted for this stream. That is my team. Last look at the team, guys. And then there could be a prize if you do join the Euro League. Not the Euro League. What am I on about? The Fantasy Football League. Let's go get the code real fast. I can't remember the code, but someone type the code in the chat if you want, or I'll put it on my Instagram, which is FPL_skills. If you haven't seen my Instagram, it's FPL all lowercase _skills, and you go on there. There'll be the league code for my FPL league, and then yes, I probably will do a prize, but I haven't decided on what that prize will be yet. I'll talk about it in a later video or stream. But yeah, everyone go join that league. Fabio Silva, yes, just because if you didn't hear what I said earlier on, I think that he could play in the first few games because Jimenez I don't think will be 100% fit and 100% sharp. So I reckon Fabio Silva will play a lot of the first few games. So yeah, anyway, guys, thank you for watching the stream. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you guys. I always got to end the stream off on the same thing. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.